India spent $9 billion on 36 Rafale fighter jets from France. This move was praised for strengthening India's air force, yet it was also criticized as a betrayal of its own defense industry. Was this a strategic necessity, or did India give up a once-in-a-generation opportunity to build fighters at home? Today we unpack one of the most debated defense deals in India's modern history. Let's rewind to the original plan, the Medium Multi-Role Combat Aircraft or MMRCa tender. India wasn't just looking to buy jets, it actually wanted to transform its defense manufacturing sector. The plan was to acquire 126 multi-role fighters with 108 of them built domestically by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited under license. This deal promised significant technology transfer and a 50% industrial offset requirement. That meant foreign vendors like Dassault were obligated to reinvest at least half the contract value back into India's defense sector. This would boost the domestic industry through local manufacturing, technology transfer, research and development collaboration, or supplier partnerships. It was more than a purchase. It was meant to be a launchpad for India's aerospace ambitions. The MMRCa contenders included global heavyweights, Eurofighter Typhoon, Boeing FA-18, Lockheed Martin F-16, Saab Gripen, and Russia's MiG-35. Each came with unique packages for local production and industrial cooperation. India envisioned Hindustan Aeronautics Limited leading production, with thousands of high-skilled jobs and a boost to its domestic defense research and development. But in 2015, after years of stalled negotiations, India abruptly cancelled the MMRCa tender. Instead of 126 fighters, the new government signed a government-to-government deal for 36 Rafales in flyaway condition from France. The deal was expedited due to the Indian Air Force's urgent operational needs. The original plan's collapse was rooted in several issues. Dassault and HAL clashed over accountability and cost escalation. HAL lacked experience assembling such advanced aircraft independently, and Dassault was unwilling to guarantee the quality of HAL-assembled jets. With rising tensions on the border and the IAF's fighter squadrons depleting, the government opted for speed over self-reliance. But that speed came at a strategic cost. Canceling local production meant walking away from a rare opportunity to absorb cutting-edge aerospace technology. Analysts argue that the Rafale deal, in its final form, failed to deliver on the core objectives of the Make in India initiative. A full domestic production line would have modernized India's industrial base, supported the development of next-gen fighters, and reduced dependence on imports. HAL had already begun preparing infrastructure, expecting to employ 3,500 workers for local fighter production. Instead, the deal sidelined HAL and led to a diluted offset program. While projects like the Dassault Reliance Aerospace Limited venture were created, they focused on lower-tier manufacturing like Falcon business jet components, not Rafale assembly or critical tech transfer. India also missed out on becoming part of a global supply chain. Other MMRCa contenders had proposed India-based production hubs. For instance, Lockheed Martin offered to shift the F-16 assembly line entirely to India, turning the country into a global supplier. Eurofighter proposed integrating India into its development consortium, potentially allowing India to export components to global customers. Yet it's important to acknowledge what the Rafale deal achieved. The 36 aircraft were delivered between 2019 and 2022, significantly enhancing the IAF's capabilities. The Rafale is a 4.5-generation multi-role fighter with advanced avionics, electronic warfare systems, and Scalp cruise missiles, giving India a technological edge. Operationally, Rafales are considered a game-changer. During the Balakot airstrike in 2019, Indian jets faced severe electronic jamming and lacked deep strike capability. Defense officials later stated that had Rafales been available then, outcomes might have been even more favorable. The aircraft's arrival improved India's deterrence posture, especially amid tensions with China and Pakistan. The deal also avoided the pitfalls of complex co-production such as delays, cost overruns, and quality issues, problems that have plagued previous indigenous projects. The direct purchase ensured faster delivery and immediate readiness. But this short-term gain came with long-term trade-offs. Saab's Gripen offered India not just jets but a co-development path for the Tejas Mk-2. Boeing and Tata had agreements in place to produce Super Hornets locally. Even the Russians, often more lenient on technology sharing, offered to transfer the full suite of MiG-35 tech. Choosing Rafale and downsizing the deal effectively shut the door on these opportunities. The Indian defense ecosystem remains reliant on foreign platforms for its frontline jets. Even as DRDO and HAL continue developing Tejas variants and AMCA, they lack the deep exposure to complex systems integration that licensed production would have enabled. Moreover, the offset obligations under the final Rafale contract were relaxed to speed up the deal. As a result, the 50% investment back into Indian industry became fragmented across smaller, less impactful projects. Critics argue that the offsets lacked transparency and delivered limited value to Indian defense research and development. The Rafale deal also became politically contentious. Allegations of favoritism, lack of transparency, and inflated costs made headlines and reached India's Supreme Court. While the court eventually dismissed petitions citing no evidence of wrongdoing, the controversy eroded public trust in defense procurement. Strategically, the deal exposed a deeper issue: India's struggle to balance capability needs with industrial development. Time and again, urgent defense gaps have led to quick imports, undermining long-term goals. The Rafale story is not just about jets, it's about India's defense planning culture. So, was the Rafale deal a $9 billion mistake, or a necessary strategic move? The truth is that, operationally, it strengthened India's air power at a critical moment. But industrially, it may have set back the dream of self-reliance by, well, about a decade. The real question is what happens next. India is now considering new fighter acquisitions under the MMRCa program. Will it repeat the Rafale playbook, or finally place bold bets on domestic production? The next few years will decide whether India becomes a global defense manufacturer, or remains a big-ticket buyer in the international arms market. One deal won the skies, the next must win the future. For more such videos, share and subscribe to our channel.